You have heard about fortune telling with tea leaves, but how about predicting the future with cheese? Yes, you heard that right. Let's learn about the history of this strange tradition and have some cheesy fun. Several centuries ago, a man named Artemidorus of Daldis mentioned tyromancy. It is the art of using cheese to predict the future. What a cool name, right? But hold on, apparently Artemidorus himself wasn't totally convinced by his invention. He thought cheese fortune telling was like a funny fortune cookie. The method of tyromancy also differs in each era. At first, people tried to peek into a hole in a cheese until they saw something about the future. Then, women started to write the names of their potential male partners on cheese. They believed that the ideal partner is the one written on cheese that molds the fastest. Jump to the 19th century and cheese predictors offered a cheese plate to guess. Depending on the cheese they picked, their future was decided. Some even used the help of mice to eat the cheese and find answers through it. Nowadays, the art of tyromancy is not widely practiced anymore. While it is proven that we can promise future secrets in your cheddar, exploring cheese divination is still a super cool way to connect with the past. So, the next time you snack on some cheese, who knows, you might get a glimpse of what's ahead. There have been many wars in human history. Most of them went on for years without stopping. But do you know that the shortest war ever happened lasts only less than an hour? Let's find out more about this. It all took place in August 1896 on the island of Zanzibar off the East African coast, which is now part of Tanzania. Syed Khalid bin Bargas al-Busaid found himself forced to become the Sultan of Zanzibar. Sultan Hamad, Khalid's cousin, had suddenly passed away. He was rumored to have been killed. Zanzibar family members were known to fight each other for power, so this might be true. However, Khalid faced more problems than his family. The mighty British Empire was threatening war against him. The British want to control Zanzibar and want to make Khalid their puppet leader, but Khalid refused. When Khalid declared himself Sultan, the British saw it as an act of rebellion. Diplomatic efforts failed and war became impossible to avoid. On that fateful day, August 27, 1896, the British warship positioned themselves in the harbor ready to strike. Without receiving a response from the palace, the British opened fire at 9 a.m. Within minutes, the palace was destroyed and many Zanzibari soldiers and civilians were wounded or killed. Amazingly, the war was reported to have lasted just 30 to 50 minutes. Experts generally agree that it lasted between 38 and 45 minutes. That means the war is over in less than an hour. During the invasion, British forces also bombed the clock tower, making it difficult to precisely know the time. Sultan Khalid managed to escape, seeking refuge in the German consulate. The British spent the rest of the day searching for him. Eventually, Khalid was exiled and died years later in British Mombasa. Zanzibar continued under British influence until gaining independence in the 1960s and merging with Tanganyika to form modern-day Tanzania. This short and imbalanced conflict between British and Zanzibar was known by various names. Many historians criticized the British invasion and said that it was not necessary. Some experts said that the attack had elements of colonialism because Zanzibar clearly was not ready for it in terms of military power and equipment. Regardless of those facts, the Anglo-Zanzibar battle still holds the record for the shortest war in history. In the modern digital age, emojis have become integral to communication. These small, expressive icons have the power to express emotions, add humor, and makes our text-based conversations better. But have you ever wondered about the fascinating history behind emojis and emoticons? Let's take a journey back in time to the era before smartphones and instant messaging, when people used the combination of punctuation marks like question marks or exclamation marks to express their emotions in written form. The first emoticon, the smiley face, became popular in 1960s. It was created by Harvey Ball, a graphic designer who was commissioned to design a moral-boosting campaign for a company. As computers and the internet gained popularity, emoticons became more important in online communities. People use creative combinations of characters like colons, hyphens, and parentheses to form expressive faces. Then came the birth of emojis in 1999. Shigetaka Kurita, a Japanese designer, developed a set of 176 simple pixelated icons for a mobile internet platform. Little did he know that he was laying the foundation for a global phenomenon. As smartphones and messaging apps took over, emojis exploded in popularity. The Unicode Consortium, a non-profit organization responsible for standardizing characters across different platforms, recognized the significance of emojis and started assigning unique codes to each one of them. Today, we have many types of emojis at our fingertips, from smiling faces to animals, food, and even symbols representing professions and activities. Emojis have evolved to reflect the diversity of our world and our emotions. It has become a universal language, passing linguistic barriers so people from different countries can easily communicate through electronic message. Nowadays, emoji has become an essential part of our everyday communication. They bring life and personality to our digital conversations, allowing us to express ourselves in a colorful and visual way. So, the next time you use an emoji, remember the journey that it has to take to become an integral part of our communication. Anywhere around the world, most people would eat cake on their birthday. It has become a global tradition. But have you ever wondered why or when we start doing this? Let's dive into the sweet history behind this pleasant tradition. Birthday is a special time when we celebrate another year of our life. But how did cake become the star of the party? Let's find out more. The ancient Greeks were among the first to celebrate birthdays with sweet treats. They would offer round honey cakes to their gods and goddesses, symbolizing the moon and divine blessings. Centuries later, in medieval Europe, cakes took on a new meaning. People would gather on their loved one's special day and stack small cakes to create a tower. The birthday person will attempt to blow out all the candles in one breath, making a wish. As time goes by, cake baking became more common and the tradition spread across the world. It became a symbol of joy, celebration, and togetherness. But it's not just about the cake itself. The act of blowing out candles and making a wish has become a cherished ritual. It's a moment of hope and anticipation for the year ahead. Today, birthday cakes come in all beautiful shapes, sizes, and delicious flavors. From classic chocolate to extravagant designs, they reflect the unique personalities and preference of the people who are celebrating their birthdays. So, next time you blow out the candles on your birthday cake, remember the ancient Greeks, the medieval tower of cakes, and the joyous tradition that bring us all together. Let's keep celebrating life's sweet moments. The world of fashion is always evolving, but there are certain aspects that pretty much stay the same. One of them is the size of pockets on women's garments. What makes it generally small? As we all know, there are pockets in almost all garments design, especially pants. It is used to keep small personal things like wallet or smartphone. But do you realize that pockets in women's garments are actually smaller than men? To understand about this aspect, we must analyze its historical background. Many decades ago, women's pockets were actually separate from the garments. It can be used with different outfits. In the 17th to late 19th century, women usually wear their pockets under their skirts and above their coats. But men's pockets were always sewn to each of their garment piece and pants. Pockets on women's garments were then out of fashion in the 1790s. Women chose to carry little handbags instead to keep their small stuff. They did this because it is way more fashionable. But later, in the 18th century, designers returned the pocket in women's garment. But this time, they made it way smaller so it still looks stylish to wear. This transition back from little handbag to small pocket made its way especially in 1920. It is because in this era, women started to wear men-inspired garments like jeans. Through the history, men and women saw pockets in garments differently. Most men actually use it to keep their small stuff, while women choose to keep them in a little handbag. But later, pockets make their comeback to women's garments, especially with the rise of fashion trends that can be used by both genders like jeans pants. But the pockets in women's jeans become smaller because it is still seen only as a fashion purpose and not really used by women to keep their personal stuff.